my Solana price prediction for this bull run, for this cycle. So I think it's a video I've been asked to do like so many times. Every time I have people asking me like, where do you think Solana, when the top will be in for Solana and everything. So we are going to try to answer that in this video. So you know it's Solana, one of my favorite crypto out there. We called the bottom during the last cycle when everybody was saying that Solana was dead. The trade was simple, on-chain activity, better tech, no second best in terms of tech, and the fact that also Ethereum was going to suffer a lot from the layer 2s and from the fact that the technology is not great. But Solana also a lot of inflation and a lot of things to fix, but everything is getting better. So we have the chart here. So let me put my head in smaller. So we have the chart here consolidating since almost like a year and a half now, and starting to show some strength since few weeks. So we are entering Q4 soon, and Solana, in my opinion, will overperform in Q4 compared to like Ethereum or Bitcoin. So let's look at the chart, and then we're going to discuss a bit more like the price prediction and everything. So what is missing for Solana first? Of course, the ETF, right? If we get an ETF like BlackRock, it's game changer. Why? Because Wall Street and the big guys out there will be able to buy Solana. And I think it can easily get 5 billion by pressure in like few months, sorry. And if we get that, Solana will definitely pump to like $250, $300 just from that, right? And then we have the treasury company, like basically some guys doing what Sailor did, but for Solana. Especially that we saw it worked for Ethereum. I'm going to go back to that soon, and I will do a video dedicated for that. So feel free to subscribe, drop a like, drop a comment, like always appreciate it. And yeah, so Solana at $215 is sitting at 100 billion plus FDV, 115. Very important to look at the FDV, guys. Too many of you don't look enough at the valuation and too much at the price. So if we get them, I think we can definitely go and see a Solana at 250 billion FDV, which would make a price slightly above $400. So yeah, that could be a very cool one, very good trade. And when we get there, Solana will have done $8, $400. You can imagine that a lot of retail will start to FOMO here at $400 because like everybody will talk about Solana saying that it's the new thing, it will solve the internet, I don't know, all this kind of like bullshit from the media company, and like a lot of people will not trained one, right? Will FOMO, thinking of like they are missing the next big thing, buy a lot at $400, while most of you will be selling because you're already in the train. And that's how you become rich. So that's the thing. So that's the first chart. So Solana, 115 billion FDV. And if we look, last cycle, it was at 70 billion because Solana had some inflation, you know, from staking and everything. So if you stake your Solana or whatsoever, it compensates that. But that's something to keep in mind. But in valuation, the chart looks super cool. So great. You know, we have more inflows than previous cycle and everything. The one where like I've been a bit too bearish is Sol BTC. So my thesis was like Solana will be consolidating against Bitcoin. And when we get the ETF, Solana will overperform Bitcoin and go back to the last high, break the last high of Bitcoin. Will we break the last high of last cycle? I don't know. It's a pretty far one. So I don't think so, but we'll definitely break this zone, I think, if we get the ETF. And I feel it can be in Q4. So it's a decent trade, right? So then up to you to kind of like take a bit of your Bitcoin exposure to go back to Solana. I'm like, why not like keeping your Bitcoin, right? Depends like your percentage of exposure. And of course, everything I'm saying is not a financial advice. If you only have 5-10% in Bitcoin, keep your Bitcoin. If your portfolio is 80% Bitcoin, then why not adding a bit of Solana? The other very interesting one is, Solana, SolETH. So we had this super big leg up. Honestly, when it was here, it was starting to be over, like Solana was a bit overheating here. So I was like, okay, makes sense to see Ethereum overperforming. So that's why like I think, yeah, it was late 2024. I got back a bit into ETH slowly on key zones. And then we had like this super big dump that we had since April until now, down 50%. Why? Because of of guys doing the same playbook as Solana, but on Ethereum. So that's something very important. And now Solana is starting to overperform. So feel free to join the Trenches group. We kind of like called it, we'll link in the bio. We called it in the Trenches group, we really let it dump. And like here we said, okay, it's important to, especially many guys who join Trenches are overexposed to Ethereum. Like they have 20, 25% of the portfolio on Ethereum. And we told them, okay, it's interesting to take a bit of profit of Ethereum, at 4,600, we take profit quite some ETH. To USDC and a small part also to Solana to grow a bit your Solana exposure. So feel free to join, link in the description. But what's interesting here is like I think we could have a local bottom and seeing the price, of course, not going straight up, but consolidating a bit, and at some point when they're ETF plus Treasury, having a big overperformance of Solana against Ethereum. So that's the thing I'm seeing. And keep in mind, sometimes crypto can pump, but it doesn't mean the real value of the company is going up, and that's the thing. That's why it's called. That's why we love speculation, right? Because it's about finding what is organic, what is not organic, what is engineered, and just having an opinion. For example, my humble opinion, right, that nobody believes in, is that, and we kind of like predicted a bit the pump from the treasury on ETH. Is like ETH pump is a bit fake because it's due to the treasury. I tweeted about it. Institutions are here. They are the one bidding our coins, and the most of the buy pressure we got on ETH is just from those institutions. Like it's 8 billion that get in the market super fast, super aggressively, and they buy super aggressively. And so I think here on Ethereum we are in a stage where like most retails are like exiting their bags. Not most, but like some of the retails are reducing their ETH exposure or taking a bit of profit, and we have Wall Street buying. And the question is like, who will win that fight? I don't know. What I say is like, when you purchase some Ethereum at 2,500 and it has been underperforming so much, and it pumped like almost like a 2x, 70% in like few weeks. Of course, I want to take profit, get back in USDC, waiting for good opportunities, waiting in the trenches. So feel free to join the Alpha group. Also follow the Twitter. Trenches is back. I'm just in the group doing some live from time to time, and rotate a bit of your ETH to Solana. So of course I still have some ETH exposure through some NFTs, through some on-chain stuff, lending and everything, but I have reduced it, right? And I tried to reduce it a bit more. For example, I found some ETH on-chain. I've put some take profit slowly, not exiting fast. If we have another pump, it will exit a bit my position. So yeah. So I think we discussed a lot about the targets in terms of price. Then I will talk about the short-term price. But let's see what's coming for Solana. So we have super big guys, Jump, Multicoin, guys who are like behind Solana since quite some time, who are fundraising to purchase Solana. So it's not clear if they will buy locked Sol or Sol over the market. That's always something very important. But 1.6 billion is coming, and when you look at the FDV of Solana, it's a big one, right? It's a big number. When for Ethereum, since Ethereum is like 4 times bigger than Solana, 4.5 times, and that's why also I feel like Solana becoming like 250 billion makes sense compared to Ethereum in terms of size. Once again, I'm doing this video. We are like in September, early September. You could have some rate cuts. We can have Trump going wild on crypto, and then like ETH is pumping, or like I don't know, the whole market valuation change. Like I don't know, Larry Fink starts to like love Solana, and like of course the repricing will be important. What matters is like to be like at a given time, being able to know what is overvalued, undervalued, have some models for that, and then be like what I think is going to happen in 3 months, 6 months, and do your bets on that. So I have a quant approach, That's why my handler is that's my quant, because the goal is to have a quant approach on everything. That's how you beat the market, People think you beat the market with like leverage or trading. No, you beat the market by having a quant approach. That's the truth, right? Nobody really talks about it, but that's how the big guys in Wall Street made it. And that's how, if you want to make it, you should do. Another like company buying Solana, digital asset treasury, DAT. That's a word you need to understand because it's a word that will come back quite often, DAT. Many people still don't know what is DAT. So if you know it now, you will have an edge compared to other people. And so they are buying Solana. And so this is the revenue on chain of Solana, of the chain. So we see Solana 1.25 billion, Ethereum half that, hyperliquid, super strong, Tron 400 million, crazy, right? Who is still using Tron? And we're still using a bit of Tron, but I don't know, crazy. BNB, Bitcoin, Base, blah, blah. What's interesting is like you see Solana, how is it dominating, you know? And the fees are super small, right? Compared to Ethereum. Ethereum is like 500 million because there is a lot of legacy protocols there, a lot of people forced to pay fees, even me, sometimes forced to pay some fees on Ethereum because it was the kind of like the OG chain, I would say. But yeah, that's cool. That's a cool one. Then I explained why it pumped and why if some MicroStrategy play starts to take off on Solana, it can be huge and see a lot of buy pressure because Solana is a way smaller asset. And so all this DAT, the smaller the asset, the harder will be the pump. That's the thing. And that's why also like BNB like had the latest push is definitely because they had like a DAT and some guys buying on the market. Because it's new kind of like buy pressure. It's quite some big numbers. It's done like a fast way with a lot of social proof, you know, because like the guys who are like Tommy Lee who is buying ETH has a lot of reputation in Wall Street. So it's people that trust him. So you have a bunch of guys saying, oh, if he's doing that, perhaps he knows something or like I trust him. So I won't say they copy trade him, but they're like, okay, let's look a bit more at ETH. They do some research, they have a conviction, they buy, or even they reach out to him, blah, blah, this kind of thing. So that's how it works in Wall Street. Okay, so we discussed about this. And perhaps the latest one is people like saying that Solana is a bit dead because of that. We had like super strong activity early this year and now it's divided by 10, let's say. So we had the summer first. During the summer, people are less here, price, market is slow. People, I think we are in a small kind of like soft recession. And so people don't have the money to gamble like 6 months or like 1 year and so on ago. And also we had like a pump fund mania and everything here. I wouldn't say like it will be back at the same level, but I think so. It's just a matter of like having Solana overperforming, having a bit more traction in the trenches, and having a bit less rugs and cabals like Yeezy Coin, all these kind of scams and stuff. You need to stay very far away from that, otherwise you will lose all your money. And have people believing a bit more like in the cults, in like the top tier projects, and like really like focusing on the project that are building long term, you know. And there is so many of them on Solana. And they will be back and then that's it. But that's the same thing. When it's like here, you know, you are like, okay, everybody's in the trenches. Perhaps it's time to take profit or like to slow down a bit or like just to manage my risk a proper way. When it's here, it's like, I want to grow my risk, you know. You have to be contrarian. If you're not contrarian, same thing. People make a lot of money in Wall Street. Most of the guys who make it big in Wall Street were contrarian. And that's super important. And short term, what do we do short term? Let's say we want to add more Solana. So on my side, I added more Solana thanks to like ETH that I took profit to Solana. And I think we can enter like a game of like, you want to pay the dip on Solana. So every time there is a big red day, or like if we get a big red day below $200, you buy it and you accumulate slowly. I think it's more a game of accumulation rather than trying to figure out the bottom. And so this is where here I think you need to think a bit more like an institutional, like a bit more like Sailor, or the guys who are doing the treasury and building your own treasury of like being like, okay, I accumulate Solana. Maximum below like $240 for like quite some time. And then I will sell when it's above that price. And then you just do that. And at some point you sell all your Solana, you're completely out. And even though you love Solana, it's my favorite coin and whatsoever, I will not have any issue not having any in my portfolio. And when you, I don't say it's easy, right? But when you start to think like that, that's how you will see. You will become a smarter investor, manage risk a better way, and you will compound faster on your capital. So that was the quant. Hope you enjoyed this video. So feel free to subscribe, drop a like, share the video. All the hype appreciated. And yeah, time to make it in the trenches.